Hey everyone, this is Steve and I am Engine Post, and today I'm going to show you in a Fusion tutorial how to pull off this effect. This is a 5-part series where we're going to go through everything from creating that portal effect, animating it, tying animations together by using expressions. We're going to discuss how to build the background plates for images and pull focus. We're going to use a third-party tool to do that that's very reasonably priced, as well as how to sync audio. So again, this is a 5-part series. I hope you enjoy it. Let's get started. Hey everybody, this is the final video in the portal creation series here in Fusion, and we're going to talk about what it takes to pull off this appearing effect that we like. We've already done all of that. We've made the back plates, we've made our portal effect, and if I send the final version of this up to camera 2, you can see our little portal cloud thing happening, and the little ring of crazy fire stuff roiling out away from him, like a little portal effect. So now we're going to talk about how to add audio. And just one more reminder, this is what it sounds like right now. So how did I do that in Fusion, right? Because Fusion isn't really an auto editing tool. And in reality, you wouldn't do that in Fusion. You would take this footage, you would render it out, you take it into something like DaVinci Resolve, right? And that's where you'd really do your audio. But suppose you're trying to work on the timing of syncing this animation with audio. In reality, the way you do that is the following. But before we get too far, let's talk about where to get some cheap audio that we can fiddle with from the start here. And the answer is, if I load up my web browser, there's a group out there called Free Sound. And freesound.org is a place where you can go sign up. And I don't know if, I'm not sure what all the licensing is on everything. I believe most of it is Creative Commons. It's a free sign up. You can search for anything, but this is exactly where I got my little portal sound. And so once you sign up, it's free. Like I said, you got to offer your email address. It tells you all the format and everything, and you need it to be on a PC, you need it to be a WAV. I don't know if that's true on a Mac. I'll have to go look on the Mac. But you would download this and you need it to be a WAV file. Might be able to support a few other formats. But once you've done that, let's go back to our scene that we created. Here's the scene that we've been working on, right? Let's put all this nice and close together so we can kind of get an idea. Here's our portal. We moved it at the last moment there so that it centers over the platform. Then we have our vignette. That vignette covers everything. Over here on the right, we have our focus pull followed by our appearance, which moves from the focus pull. And it's just transitioning those 3 photos. We did all of that. Now we just want to go over here and we want to take this project, and it looks good. Let's watch it. So there's your focus pull. Now your portal with the guy appearing. It's caching this, proxying it because you clicked that button. And we're hoping that lines up with our music, right? And so to do that, really you should have started with music. But you'll notice there's a little speaker down here. I can mute it and unmute it, right? But if I right click on it, now I can choose a file. And right now it says there's no audio file. So I'll go to choose. And I already have an audio file sort of set up here. So I'm going to go out to my users area. And I have it out in my Dropbox for Fusion. And here's my little WAV file, that little sci-fi wave that I downloaded. So there we go. I've dropped it in. From here you can do other interesting things like, again, if I right click, I can set an offset. So what the offset does is it lets me start it early or late. That's all. So all that does is help you, like if you've got like a really long audio file and you really say that, like, you know, so many frames in, you know, you'd have to calculate frames per second. So if it's, 2 minutes in, you need to jump forward 60 frames, and that's where you're going to start the audio. If you want it to start late, again, you kind of can go in a negative frame direction so that it'll wait a number of frames before it starts. But that's what it'll let you do. We're not going to offset it all because I kind of timed this in advance. But now let's see if it's roughly correct. So with the audio not muted, I'll back it up to the start and I'll hit play. And there we go, folks. That's how that works. If you actually render it with audio, let me warn you, it's awful, and you don't want to do that. Really the best way to use Fusion, if you're going to worry about adding audio and stuff like that, is to use it with DaVinci Resolve. I would start in DaVinci Resolve, maybe get a black background, or maybe one of these images, for example, and then I would right click on it and turn it into a Fusion comp. And then that will open up straight in Fusion. In Fusion, you can fiddle with adding that little audio file and getting the syncing right and then deleting it if you want, whatever you want to do. You can actually go up inside in a saver. So if I click this, this is going to be our final, right? So I'm going to rename that to final. If I want to add a saver to this, you just hit Shift Space and start writing the word save. There's saver. Okay, and here it tells you, well, it asks you, where do you want to save this file? So I've got a D drive used just for saving, just so that I'm not processing on the same drive that I save. And I might save that out as Fusion 3. And I save on a Windows platform as an AVI file, an uncompressed AVI. So I'm going to hit save on that. But then now over here in these audio settings, what you can do is you can actually add a sound file here. And the advantage of adding a sound file here is over here you can right click and say, what do I want to include in this project? And then you could pick it right out of those settings, right? And you can also fiddle with offset with this little scrubber bar, which is a whole lot easier than typing a raw number in, right? So that's kind of the preferred way of adding audio for the purpose of syncing. If you're trying to add audio into here to play audio, to my knowledge, the only way to do that would be to add a video and drop it in. I don't think you can just drag audio into the interface. Maybe, but I've never done it. But when it's time to render, I would say go no audio. But either way, you save your work if you started in DaVinci and created a Fusion comp. And then when you go back to DaVinci by closing Fusion, it's going to put all of your your work, even if it's rendered or not rendered, in that DaVinci timeline. And that's where I would go ahead and sync up audio and play with the stereophonic sound, or if you're doing surround, fiddle with it there. That's how I would do it. And so that's basically the whole thing, folks. You've seen it. From here with the saver, you just go up to File and you can render that by hitting Start Render, and just be sure everything is how you want it. You have the right, quality, size, and all that, and then start rendering that thing. And as you can see here, I'm not exposing in this timeline a control that shows us the progress. And look at that, glorious! It crashed, but I've never had that happen too often, so it shouldn't be a big deal. But it should save just fine. If it ever doesn't save fine, it's because you're trying to save an animation that matches a file with the exact same name. Sometimes that happens, and it can be a little irritating that it's not smart enough to know that you either mean to save over it so it kills the old one, or you mean to, or you just go change the name is the bottom line, and it will change it. This is if you're working without DaVinci Resolve and you just mean to export it. That's my experience, at least. And this wraps up our tutorials on the Portal series. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more, and if you happen to like it. And then in addition to that, leave a comment and let me know what your thoughts are. I'm trying to keep these robust, but I'm going to start chopping them up like this just so that there's more content and you can sort of jump to just the bit you care about. That's my plan, at least. So I hope that works. Let me know if you have any comments or thoughts. And let me know if you're also looking for other tricks. I'm going to be throwing out here some Blender tutorials that show you how to build stuff in Blender and how to maybe set up Blender so that it will work well with cycles and be less noisy. And another thing I spend time on is video editing. So I might even do some video editing tutorials as well. So all of this, and it's not even my job, folks. I just think it's fun, and I hope you do too. So thanks, and I'll talk to you real soon.